All right, back at it. Two great things about today's podcast. One, Lucas is back in the library, but like back in studio. Been gone all summer on his hiatus, helping out the football team. And the legend Mimi Mahon, Mimi Mahon from Ohio right now. Been in Indiana, been in Massachusetts, been all around. Great athlete, great coach, fantastic person. Mimi, just first question before I do your little bio. The Olympics are going on right now. You played basketball, you played volleyball, you played softball. If you could be, you were in Olympic lifting, you were in CrossFit, powerlifting, strongman. If you could be an athlete in one sport in the Olympics right now, what would that be?
I don't think you would ever guess.
Ping pong?
No, but just looking at my build, you probably wouldn't believe this, but I played college softball. I liked volleyball as well, but I love basketball. I
Mm,
just wish I was stretched out a little bit, maybe a little faster, but I just stood behind the 3-point line and shot threes all day long.
fun.
But I loved basketball. And I actually, after I graduated from college playing softball, I told my dad that I was going to go overseas and play basketball. I was going to give it a go because I didn't know what else. I needed to compete in something. I did not do that. I was serious. Didn't happen.
She's been a strength coach. She's been or a softball coach, and it kind of goes hand in hand, depending on the school and the budgets. A lot of times, those coaches have to wear multiple hats. Sometimes it's the operations hat, the marketing hat, but it's also the strength and conditioning hat. And luckily, Mimi has the wherewithal, the pedigree, the background to do both. Mimi, if you're coaching in the Olympics right now, what sport would you be best at coaching?
Olympic weightlifting.
All right. Gotcha. So not even one that you competed at full time, but still a big passion. So the whole big background. I like the high school story right here where she played basketball, volleyball, softball, had D1 offers to play softball, but blows out her knee junior year. The typical I've been doing a lot of running, change of direction, bam, ACL goes out, plays in the entire senior year on a torn ACL and goes to state in softball on a torn ACL. Still makes it. So one of the many reasons, when Jen and I talk about Mimi being badass, just another example. And then she did not get that D1 offer any longer. They yanked it from her, so she goes to another school and then still works her way back to the D1 level, right? So just a level of resilience coming back from injury, staying with the sport, and then working your way up. Second reason, I would say Mimi's badass. Third, she ended up playing in Cleveland, my hometown. So I'm obviously biased there. Go Vikings, Cleveland State Vikings, right? Fantastic. And from there, started coaching. But maybe what was that like working your way up through college, the college ranks, and then elevating and evolving to those higher levels? But it took some time.
Yeah, I think, I love that you share that story because it feels like so long ago, but it was such a defining moment in my life that I still look back on time and time again. Like getting injured, that could have taken me out of the game, but I'm like, nope, I'm still playing. My team's going to be good. We have a chance at state. I want to play not just for myself, but for my teammates. This has been our goal. And, later on, a lot of people told me they thought I was crazy when I was like, I'm playing and we're going to make it to state. And that's what we put out there and that's what we set out to do. And I definitely wasn't, if you look at stats, I wasn't as good my senior year. I didn't have a lot of power playing on my right leg, the leg you drive through the ball with, but I went from being a catcher to just playing first base, trying to move, like you said, as side to side as little as possible with the torn ACL. We went to state. Then I had surgery and went on to college. And I think, also that was one of the first times in my life that I really trained with purpose. I loved going to physical therapy. I had to go to physical therapy all throughout the school year to keep the muscles around my knee strong. So I learned so much. I didn't even realize I was learning so much, but I loved the training. And then obviously I had to do more physical therapy going to college. So then I ended up going to the University of Rio Grande. It's an NAIA school, and I played 2 years there. In my freshman and sophomore year, I was, I think at the time they say all conference, all region, those sorts of things. And I really, after 2 years, I was like, what am I going to do? But I do have a side story that you don't know. So speaking of basketball, I went to the basketball coach and asked for a tryout I was like, if I'm going to play two sports because I need to do more. So I did a tryout with the basketball coach. He said, yeah, you're on the team. So I told my softball coach, and my softball coach said, no way. You're one of our best players. You're not playing basketball. What are you talking about? That's how you tore your ACL. And then I took some time, went home that summer, and I thought, if I'm not playing two sports, then I'm gonna play one sport at the highest level. So I came home and I made YouTube videos. Embarrassingly enough, I think you can still find them. But
Dang.
I made YouTube videos with my high school coach, who was Steve Heckman, helped me out. Sent them off to some colleges and did some visits again after my sophomore year, and then landed at Cleveland State. It just worked out really well with timing. Someone had transferred to another college, so I just kind of swooped in as a junior, and I loved Cleveland State University. I think it's an awesome school, awesome athletics, and I love Cleveland. It was great.
Saying all the right things. So endearing. At some point, you know, a number of times on the show, I've talked about injuries being a gift if you can use them that way. I got to believe that you had some time off. You're in that physical therapy route. Your knowledge has got to be increasing on how to build the body. The strength and conditioning, building up the hamstrings, building up everything around it, hips, core, everything else. That become more of a focus in college then, obviously, so you can handle all the pounding of playing at the college level.
It did, but I didn't really realize what I was learning at the time. I just still saw it as physical therapy happens at physical therapy. Working out is in the gym. It was not until I got to the Division I level that I understood training for sport versus working out. So I really feel like I owe a lot to that experience at Cleveland State. We had an awesome male and female strength coach. So we had two, and I learned so much there. And I think that's when I really understood training with a purpose.
Being intentional, also huge, right? Because some people, they're training, they're on the team, college level, and they're just going through the motions, right? And the amount of impact and benefit you get from being intentional in the weight room or anything else just pays huge dividends and takes a level of maturity to actually kind of figure that out, don't you think? Some people they don't get it yet.
Yep, I was listening to Kelly Starrett's podcast the other day, or he was on a podcast, and he was talking about how nowadays we have so much information and so much resources that it used to be when we were growing up that you just worked harder. That was definitely my mantra. Work hard, work hard, work hard, more and more and more. Now we actually need to work smarter because everyone can just work hard, work hard, work hard. But are you intentional? Are you working smarter? And I do think there's a lot of truth to that.
I take both. Definitely work as smart as you can and optimize as much as you can. My favorite Shane Sweat-ism. But I still believe in outworking the other folks as well. Just if I'm smarter and outworking them, then I'm really hitting them with both barrels, right?
Yeah, so I have a college athlete that I'm training right now. Well, she's actually going for her first year to play college soccer at Tiffin University. And I told her, I said, I'm going to be having a conversation about training people just like you. Like anything what's your purpose? What's your why? Why do you come here? I mean, she's been working so hard all summer long. And she said the best thing. She said that training hard, getting stronger, it gives her confidence in that she can outwork her opponents. She's going to be the best because she works harder than everyone. And that I still have that mentality today. Like, you can't outwork me. So I do think there's something to be said about, yeah, you have to work smart to make the most of your training. But I think there's just this like confidence that you get from training hard. And honestly, I think that's youth athlete all the way to the adult that's just coming into the gym to train 1 hour a day, but then they have that confidence throughout the rest of their day and their work too, even if it's completely unrelated.
You know, Lucas works with high school kids. I work with some kids, not near as many as Lucas because he's just in the high school all the time. And there's different echelons, right? Someone's going to go to the D1, the 5-star kid, and they're already going to be making money. Some other kid's going to be a walk-on, and some other kid doesn't even get to that level. But those that are going, or maybe they're a JV kid trying to make varsity, at some point those lower echelon kids can still evolve to that high level, but they're not there, right? Their path is going to be a little bit rockier. They're not already thought of or appreciated quite yet because they're not quite there. What do you say to those kids to inspire or get them going to keeping them going? Because that road's a hard one to hoe. It's harder. They're not already, even if they're great and maybe someone that they're just overlooked, 1A school kid, right? What do you say to those kids that have that harder road? Because you took that harder road, right? You
Hmm.
didn't go, you went NAIA first, and then D1. What do you say to those kids? How do you work with them?
Honestly, it's just everything we're talking about right now. It's being the hardest worker in the room and understanding that it always pays off. It might not pay off in the way that you think it should or the direct path that you want it to, but someone's always watching, and if you do the right things and work hard, it'll get you to where you need to be, whatever that means. I don't want to say it's where you want to go because it might not be, but I
Sure.
think it will, like you said. I mean, when I was playing at the NAIA school, like nothing against that. It was a great experience, but I didn't think, well, after 2 years, I'm transferring to Division One. See everyone. I was just making the most of every day, trying to be the best I could every day. I had no intentions of that. Wasn't what was leading my work ethic every day. It was just to be the best I could.
Having that singular focus is really your only shot. You start thinking about other things. Can I do this, in 2 years, and not being present?
Mhm.
Your execution ability goes down the toilet pretty quick because you're just not at one intentional or trying as hard, right? You're not working as hard. You're not grinding. And if you're just focused on getting better, then at some point, someone's got to notice, hey, this person's pretty good, right? The results got to stand out at some point, not just someone just having a louder megaphone on social media, right? And if you get them pushing that hard, then at some point they're gonna advance. And that kind of leads into that story that we were talking about before we even hit record. That you were just working hard in your first coaching gig, right? And then it led to the next one. So that's an excellent, worthwhile story. Why don't you share that with everybody?
Yeah, so I went to school for 5 years. After I finished softball my fourth year, I still needed to finish up student teaching, and it was just going to be too much in the spring with the Division One travel schedule. So I thought I'll just stay another year, stretch it out. Um, so I was doing student teaching, and then the assistant coach at the time, she was the pitching coach at Cleveland State, took the head coaching job at a nearby Division III school, Case Western Reserve University, and she became the head coach. And she asked me if I would want to be her assistant. And you can imagine, assistant coach, I'm thinking she's talking major money, and I'm excited. I'm like, I'm going to make a lot of money. I'm going to have a job, even though I'm at school. And I think she said $2,000 or something like that for the entire year. I'm like, yes, I'm in. But really, so I just think there's a layer of that because people always want so much. And it's like, that didn't matter, obviously, but I'm like, yes, I'm in. So a couple $1,000s, and it was, a big commitment. I'm going to every practice, every game, getting up in the morning, having running camps and clinics. It was a big commitment, and I absolutely loved it. So at the time, I was just coaching, student teaching. I can distinctly remember going from student teaching all day, 7 to 3, and hustling to my dorm room to take like a 15-minute nap if that's all I had before I ran to go coach. Like, it was just that was my day every day. And so at the end of the school year, I get an email or a call, I don't remember, from another local Division III college, Oberlin College, and it was from the athletics director. And she said, "Hi, like, we got your name. We'd like you to interview for the head coaching position." Okay. So immediately I call my, my mentor, the head coach that I was working for, and I tell her the story, and she says, "That's awesome, Mimi. There's no way they're going to hire you. You're 23 years old. You're just graduating, but it is going to be an awesome experience. Like, go on that interview. You're going to learn a lot. It'll be great for your future." And I'm like, okay. But really, I thought, oh, I'm getting this job. Not that I knew anything about anything, but I was like, I can do this. So I went in, did the interview, and I was offered the position. So I became a head coach at age 23 years old. And it's just an awesome story because I later found out that she was connected to that college through the athletics department. She knew other coaches, and I guess she came to a game one time and she said, "I love her energy and enthusiasm, and that's who we'd like to be our next head coach." So she kind of picked me out, and I had no idea. So, I mean, the big takeaway, like we talked about, is that you just never know who's watching, and to, like we said, always give it your best because you never know where that leads you. I was applying to teaching jobs at the time. So I actually went to school to be a high school math teacher. So I had college coach or math teacher. It wasn't a hard decision for me.
Right, right. A while back we had Mickey Marotti on, the strength coach that heads up all of Ohio State's strength and conditioning, and I asked him about, how would you define or instruct, leadership? And it tells me that Oberlin College recruiter saw that in you, and what Mickey says is that leaders must be seen doing the right things. They must be heard. So what comes out of your mouth must be accurate. You're instructing them, but mostly they must also be felt. So that enthusiasm, right? That energy, that presence, and when people feel that, they will then follow you because you're doing all three things. And it's pretty evident that right then and there, those things are evident. So the next thing you know, yeah, Mimi's our girl. We want her. Let's go. Any big rivalries then? Anything going up because you're one of five, also one of three triplets, and all five played college sports. And I think they all coach at some point, right? So if they're triplets, you guys will be on the same team sometimes. Then there's, other siblings. How rough does that backyard get sometimes? What's going on growing up with all the competition? Because it's got to be like that, right? I know you want to compete at everything.
Yeah, I mean, I like to think that my one tooth is a little crooked because my older brother threw an elbow playing basketball in the driveway. I don't know. My parents they say that's not true and that I'm fine, but I swear that happened. Nate definitely threw an elbow at me. Yeah, I mean, I grew up playing sports in the backyard always. Baseball, football, shooting in the driveway, basketball. I mean, everything. That was kind of my childhood. I remember my brother Nate played football at Miami University, and we would come home and he would take me and Allie and my brother Chris with him to this place called Quicker, Faster, Stronger. The only downfall was that we would work our butts off, like pushing sleds and doing all this crazy stuff. And then we would all drink the same like weight gainer Gatorade shake afterward. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm a female. I need half of that. But I was keeping up with
Right.
the boys. Like I loved that. I played baseball until they used to call it, I think, like minor league or something. I played baseball, me and Allie, until we were 10, I think 10 years old. So we have videos of us playing on all the boys teams for every sport growing up. And then we had to obviously transition to playing sports with girls. But that was kind of what you did. If you were an athlete, you just joined the boys teams back then. And then the other big thing is I hear a lot, it's almost sad to me when female athletes are uncomfortable training with boys or playing sports with boys, because I want to be a strong female presence for them and show them how to train and that it's okay. But at the end of the day, like I didn't really have that experience, Jim. Like I grew up with awesome brothers, awesome guys around me, and I've always just felt really comfortable. I mean, when I trained with you at the gym, I would imagine you saw that, right? Like right away, I can, if you want to bench, let's go. I don't need to find like my female counterpart. So that's just kind of how I've always been. And I think that's because I grew up with a bunch of brothers, and my dad, my mom and my dad, but specifically, my dad and his father, which is really cool because like grandpa, back in the day, they totally saw female sports as important and relevant. And like they were at all of our games. They cared what we did. They thought all of us, it was always, where are we going to play in college and what sport are we going to play? Not maybe we'll make it that far. I think that's really important too. Like I never had a doubt. It was just, where are we going to go? So I think that's just, I attribute a lot to my parents, honestly. And
I can attest that Mimi can hang with a lot of the dudes, a lot of the fellas. Another colleague of ours, Coach Mark Valenti, runs Blind Dog Gym, Vermilion, Ohio, Northern Ohio, right in the middle. He's also a former pro Highland Games thrower and big background in that. So strongman as well. And I'm there for one of their Highlander games, which is a cross between strongman and Highland Games. And Mimi's there, and I just walk in Mark's gym, and his gym's pretty sweet. He's got some Conan the Barbarian murals on the wall. It's badass, right? And I look up on the record board, and there's Mimi with a 405 deadlift, right? Right up there, just boom. Next closest one isn't anywhere nearby. So maybe she's been strong for a good long while. It wasn't like just for a little bit when she was a kid. No, she's been strong for a while. Then you married another athlete and coach, right? Ashley. And then now you
Yes.
got two boys, Nico and Luca. So I'm sure the Kool-Aid is pouring hard. Hey, which kid? Hey, boys, which sport you guys be playing in college? And they're pretty young, right? One's what, 5?
Actually, so Nico's going to be 3 and Luca's 1. And we have, guess you're going to love this, Jim. We have a class at our gym, which is called Toddler Train. I made it up, Toddler Train. It's
Mm.
awesome. So they already go through like little obstacle courses and yeah, it's great. So they're training. Luca just
Oh yeah.
started. He turned 1 and we gave him the green light.
So when they have their formula in the bottles and they add a little bit of cereal and there's a little bit of creatine going right in there for sure.
Oh, yeah, protein.
Protein for sure, right from the get go, right?
Yeah. People think it's just like the regular, baby formula, but really it's a little mix of both. The scoop of both is good.
Nico also matches his mom with a big shoulder tattoo. He's legit jacked,
Yes.
right? Dang. So done coaching sports, right? Softball, and then decide, you know what? I want to be in charge. I want to run my own place. So you move back home, Cincinnati area, right? Settle back in. Now we have Mahon Strength and Fitness. When did that happen? What led to that decision? How did you go from I want to work on organized sports to now I'm doing strength conditioning, adults getting them healthier, student athletes, nutrition, etc. How did that occur?
So it was kind of just organic over time. I mean, it's like we keep talking about the common theme is you work hard and then you see where it takes you and you have faith and confidence that it's going to take you where you need to go. I did not want to leave college coaching. I think that was really scary for me. So when I actually moved from Indianapolis out to Boston, then I actually went there to take a job at just a regular gym as an assistant fitness director. So I thought I'd like to learn how to run a gym. I just want to see how this goes and be a trainer and just learn a different style of training as well. So I go out there, take that job, and then I get a phone call from the head coach at Tufts University, and she says, "Why are you not coaching? What's going on?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I just came out here and took this job. I didn't have a coaching job at the time." And so she brought me on her staff. So then quickly I was a assistant softball coach working at a gym. And then they found out that I did have my CSCS. So then they're like, "Why aren't you working with our athletes?" So then I became a strength and conditioning coach. And then I was doing everything all the time. And I loved it. I was back to that running around like I was doing in my young 20s. It was like, I mean, literally, I remember being at softball practice, dirty in the dirt at softball practice, and then like changing my shoes, changing my outfit, and going to the gym to train clients in this like beautiful clean gym. And I was like, "Oop, I still think I have dirt on my knee." But whoops. But that was kind of my life. And I was living in the fast lane, but getting all the experience, all the knowledge, and I did love it. And then the pandemic hit. We were one of the first colleges to be shut down because out on the East Coast, it just kind of happened a couple weeks early. Got shut down. Then like the gym started closing. And so I actually took my business outside and online. I did training on Zoom, nutrition challenges on Zoom. We went to the park. People came to my backyard. I totally destroyed my car at the time because I've had barbells, bumper plates. I bought a sled, kettlebells. It was all in my trunk. And then I would just drive around Boston training people. And it just kept getting bigger at a time when everyone else was kind of going the opposite way. My business just kept growing. And I attribute that to having time to like focus on one thing because I couldn't do all the things like I always was doing. So I could just focus on that. So it was great. Then it was kind of like a cross in the road of I'm ready to do this on my own because that's what I'm doing anyways. Do I open a gym out here or do I go back home? Those were kind of my two options. And just with my parents getting older, I felt like I was missing out. I have a ton of nieces and nephews, and it just, I think COVID put things into perspective for a lot of people family wise. And I just thought, if I'm going to start a business, let's go back home, and had complete blind faith and confidence again because I had no members. I luckily was able to, when I moved back to Ohio, I was able to open the gym and still train some people virtually. So it wasn't like I had no clients, or nothing coming in. I was kind of able to maintain. I would still do classes on Zoom for some of my the folks in Boston. So that was nice too, and just kind of built it up from the bottom.
So you've been in this role for a while as an athlete, as a coach. And one of the phrases you shared with me before was, and make sure I get this right, if you know better, do better, right?
Yeah.
What is some things maybe Mahon 10, 15 years ago, who didn't know quite as much, was doing that current 2024 maybe Mahon would be like, girl, we need to have a conversation right here. Hold on a second. What are you doing?
Yeah, so much.
Right? Surely there
Yes.
could be a few things, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, first and foremost, I talked a little bit about this earlier, but I did not understand the difference between working out and training. I just thought you just work out hard and good things happen, but training with a purpose, that's really when I decided to start my own business, I purposely called it Mahon Strength and Fitness. And that is because it's Mimi Mahon's program. And it's okay if it doesn't align with what you want, but it's really my experiences. And I can't put that in a box. I can't just be a powerlifting gym, a bodybuilding gym, a CrossFit gym. It's really, truly, let me meet with you, Jim. What are your goals? And I'm going to help you in a way that I think is smart and provide you a training program to meet your goals. And it could look different for so many people. And it should look different. I don't even think people understand that. It should look different based on where your goals are and where you're at as a person. And then strength and fitness, because we all need strength training. You know that, I know that. And we all need the fitness side too. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that was really purposeful. It sounds just like, oh, Mahon Strength and Fitness, fine. But, I really did think about that. I guess the other way I would name it is just like a training academy too. I think that's a good name as well. But kind of trying to provide training to people of all ages, because I think it's really necessary at every point in life. So a big mistake I made, this is one I do laugh at about a lot, is when I finished playing college softball, I joined a CrossFit gym and I was loving it, drinking the Kool-Aid, like it was amazing. I was also training my college athletes. I was the head coach, but I was kind of doing the thing where you wear multiple hats. Like I was not a qualified strength and conditioning coach. I got my CrossFit level 1 and I was only training my team. So I wasn't training other teams, but I was kind of allowed to do whatever I wanted with my team, which looking back, that's a little scary, but that's how I still think, unfortunately, things go that way sometimes. But I mean, I was putting them through a traditional CrossFit circuit. Like I'm talking thrusters, burpee over the bar. One of my athletes kind of like hurt a wrist on a clean. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm embarrassed at some of the things I did back then, but that's just what I knew. And I saw it was making great progress in myself. So I thought that's what they needed. But I didn't know better at the time to say, like, it's not about what's best for me, someone that's not even playing a sport right now. It's what's best for these young ladies in front of me and what they need to be better softball players. And there's a smarter way, there's better ways to get stronger, be more explosive than this. But I just didn't know any better. So I'm not going to be too hard on myself, but now I like to think I'm much more better off having the lived experience and, obtaining my CSCS and just continuing to learn and grow.
I love that because you don't know what you don't know, and you can still get people better, even though maybe it's not optimized. And for someone who's new and hasn't trained at all, you can take the basic template out of any men's fitness magazine, and they'll be better because they have done nothing. I have this one new student athlete, this female. She's going to be a junior, and all her coach said is that you need to be a lot stronger. And she came in, and so I like to start people off with box squats so they can start squatting decently, correctly, and it's with a little 26 kettlebell. Like that's all she can handle. Like not even the bar, right? And when you're that new to any of that, almost anything works, right? But it's pretty fun at that stage because everything works. So they start having these PRs like every day. But to your point about what you don't know, until I started learning about Jim Wendler's 5-3-1 or conjugate or periodization, it's like, well, it's okay if we do legs every day. It's okay if everything's, every day's a shoulder day and a leg day. And I'm like, man, why am I hurting all the time? No part rest. Surely there's got to be a rest in here somewhere, right? So just that little piece right there. And then I took some courses just like you did, and meet some other folks. And it's like, yeah, all right. What I was doing before was a little silly. No one got hurt, but that's all right. Maybe we can do a little bit better this next time. There's in some areas, CrossFit's still growing quite a bit. In some areas, it's plateaued and in decline. And one of the things you wrote down here is that you want to talk about the future of strength and conditioning. And I don't think you're a affiliated CrossFit gym, right?
Correct. We are not.
And you're kind of just doing your own thing, if you will. But Mahon's brain is coming out into the gym, and this is what we're running with. So for what you're seeing in today's society, whether it's student athletes or just the overall adult population, where do you think it's going? And more specifically, where's your gym going?
So the biggest thing, another thing that I feel like I didn't know a lot about in my younger years that I know about now, and it could be from my own injuries, surgeries, recovering from things as well, learning, growing, just the importance of stability, not just talking about mobility, but stability exercises, banded activation, corrective exercises, call them whatever you want, but they have a really strong place and purpose in training, especially as you age. A lot of times when you're younger, you can get away with not doing as much of that. But as you get older, especially, we need that. So when it comes to like CrossFit, for example, in my adult program, we don't climb ropes. We don't walk upside down. We don't do a lot of barbell overhead, like overhead squats, that sort of thing. We use a lot of dumbbells, kettlebells. But I think at the end of the day, we need to focus on like proper movement patterns and making people feel better when they leave the gym. Again, I was just listening to Kelly Starrett. Another thing he said that totally resonated with me is like, most people, it doesn't benefit them to leave the gym feeling completely beat up. They need to feel better when they leave the gym. Like, yes, you worked hard, but you're more energized and feeling better when you left versus feeling completely destroyed. In my younger days, I was so exhausted after training that I would need a nap. Like always. It was like I just completely destroyed myself for 2 to 3 hours. Now I need a nap. And I personally don't have time for that now. Like I have to come home, be a mom, do the next thing, run a business. So I have to really be careful. I mean, maybe a couple days a week I can go that hard, but because I do still like to compete and still like to be an athlete. But for the majority of people that come in my gym specifically, they just want to get healthier, stronger, fitter for life. And that's our motto, is to get healthier, stronger, fitter for life. Now, if you're training in our sports performance program, that's going to look different. That's another big misconception. People will say, "Oh, can my little Johnny come to class, the adult class?" I'm like, "No, you don't. You don't want Johnny to do that. Johnny needs to be training for his sport, not just like overall fitness and strength." So I think the future of our gym is just continuing to get that out and having folks understand that, which I think we're doing a really good job. Our sports performance program is continuing to grow. Our motto, MSF, is Mahon Strength and Fitness. We also say it stands for Making Strong Families. So we want grandma, grandpa, mom, dad, parent, whoever, children, everyone all the way down the list to be training for whatever that means for them. And my vision of the future is to have 2 side-by-side facilities where, parent can take their child, they go train in a way that makes sense for them. Parent goes trains next door, go home and have a nice family sit-down dinner. Let's bring back some good traditional values, and also get that work in. So to be more efficient, that is my dream goal, and I'm working on that.
You could see the Mahon thumbprint. All the siblings played sports. She wants the whole family to be healthy and active. And if there's an imbalance there, the wife always wants to work out and be healthy and eat healthy. The husband does not. There's an imbalance there. Then there's going to be some friction. And if you can get people on the same page, because culture is probably the number one asset that you guys have. There's family cultures as well. And if you can impact them that way globally, then there's going to be huge impact. I also like, your point about not wrecking yourself. Once your CNS is smashed, all you can do is eat and sleep and try to fix it, right? And when we were talking earlier about intensity or being intentional in your training to get better results, well, it's a lot harder when your CNS is wrecked. So if you can't come back the next day and it takes you 2 or 3 days to come back fully recovered, then you just missed 48, 72 hours of impactful work. And just getting wrecked, it doesn't do that. And earlier on, I was like, man, hero wads every day. Is that cool? All right, let's just go again,
Yeah.
go again. And Lucas always wanted to do Kalsu over and over again. So we would try to do that every once in a while. So
Yeah.
probably not true, but um, you said you wanted to pursue the best version of yourself every single day in all aspects. So for you yourself, not just the business owner, the athlete, the spouse, the mom, what's that look like for you? What are those intangible things you're striving for, and what's that equate to on a day-to-day basis? If Mimi's living
I
her best life.
Yeah, it's everything you already said. So of course, being a great mom to my children, that's first and foremost. Sometimes I think that's the only area that I ever beat myself up on. If I'm not being great for them, then what am I doing? Because they are my complete world. So that is important to me. If I train so hard that I have no energy to get off the couch and play with them, that's a problem for me. So that's something I'm really working on. I want to show up for them every single day in the best way I can. And then some of the intangibles is to just really make a positive impact on people's day every day. And I found that that comes from being consistent. Like I want when people come to the gym, when people see me out and about, like I want them to know what they're getting and feel like I lifted them up. One of my favorite sayings too is like, you can either be an energy giver or an energy sucker. And there's
Mm,
nothing in between. So like you're either
right.
taken from people or you're given. There's no gray. And I just want people to walk away from seeing me and being, always feeling uplifted. And that's a big task. I'd say that's the other area I beat myself up on is like if I'm not in a great place and I don't, give someone the best version of me, I usually reflect and get upset about that. So I think that's like a lot of pressure to put on myself, but that is something I really work hard to do.
That's awesome. My brother Eric, he uses deposits and withdrawals, and he wants to make more deposits in people's relationships because every once in a while he'll have to make a withdrawal, and that could
Hmm.
be come in the form of an ask, I need help here, or come in the form of he said something that he wished he had and he kind of fucked up, and then the relationship could be damaged a little, right? But you made so many deposits that hey, we can move past that, no problem. There's lots of people in my life where I'm unbelievably grateful for, where they've, humbly, in my opinion, given me more deposits than I have to them. Like one guy, he would come over and if anything's going on in the gym, he just starts working on it. Like doesn't need to be asked. And so when he comes to me one time and says, "Hey, can we train all the canines for the police department at your gym at night during third shift?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude, whatever. Just turn the lights off when you're done." He's like, "You care about the equipment?" I go, "Whatever you need, man. Just take it. I don't care." Because he's helped out so much. And then when you say I want to make an impact or help other people, and there's a whole, our gym and our athlete builder, we have our six core values, and one of them is teamwork. And I wore this shirt today because I don't know anybody personally that's been a better teammate than you have to some people in your family. And it was so evident a couple weekends ago when I'm down at your place for the donor games. I was truly just moved because I know you have a story to share there. And I asked myself, because I heard some of the stories there, I'm like, man, could I do that? Could I do that? I don't know. I don't know. And so I want you to share that piece and there's no reason I wore the shirt because I don't know many people in my life that have done something as selfless as you. So I'm so humbled and in awe of what occurred a few years back.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It was amazing having you there. And I won't challenge you with answering this question. I'll just leave it out there. But I'm like, yeah, if Jen needed that, you would. You
Yeah, well
would.
that
You
part's
would.
easy. That part's
Yeah,
easy. But
that's how I feel about my mom.
I was told though that hey, you can make a donation and to anybody and still be fine afterwards.
Yep, that's right.
So then why not?
Yeah,
Right?
why not?
Like yeah, if it's Jen or my kids, fuck, whatever, sign me up.
Yeah,
I'm good.
easy.
That part's easy.
Yeah.
So why don't you
So I,
share with Lucas and everybody else like what the whole
yeah,
story is behind that? See if we can get
yeah, I'm
Mimi
excited to share.
to get upset here.
It's already happening. Yeah, thanks a lot. It's the only thing that'll get me. As you saw this past weekend, I was feeling good too, and then it was like, oh, it'll pull at you. But it kind of just takes me back to when that happened. But it was in 2016. I think that was the year my mom just kind of like got sick out of nowhere. And I'm going to make it a really long story short by saying that she just got sick and became septic, and it went downhill, spiraled out of control. But in 2017, she was in kidney failure, end stage kidney failure, and looking at having a kidney transplant. So I actually got tested right away. Some of my mom's siblings did, some friends, which that's all incredible. You just go and see if you're a blood match originally. And so I was not. They say that it's like you could build up antibodies. So likely if I donated my kidney to my mom, her body would likely reject it probably because I'm her offspring, and it would just not take well. So a couple other people got tested, and they ultimately could not do it just for their own health reasons. There's a huge process you have to go through. Obviously, this is important too. They're not going to take your kidney if they think something's going to happen to you. So it's kind of like the best health screen that you could ever have, because they want to make sure you're like really healthy to do that. They're not just going to like rip a kidney out of you and hope for the best. Like they don't want you to need one. So I think that's just good perspective. So I went through the whole process, and they decided to just hold off on me because they really wanted to find a direct match to my mom, and I was not that. So I'll never forget, like time was passing and the doctors were just saying that, her kidneys, it just wasn't looking good. She might need to start some dialysis and like trying to figure out what to do. And my sister, Allie, who's a nurse, was like, I really don't want that for mom. You have to sit on that machine for like 4 hours a day, a couple days a week. And she's not going to like that if you know my mother. So not that anyone does, but it was just not what Allie wanted for her. And I'm like, well, why won't they just let me donate my kidney? So I called the hospital. I had a transplant coordinator at the time and said, like, this is ridiculous. Like, just let me do it. They had said that there was this like exchange program where I could donate to some stranger and my mom would have one. And I'm like, that sounds great. Like, let's go. Why are we not doing this? So then they said, all right, fine. If you feel that strongly, like, let's go. And it was literally, I think just like a couple weeks later that they started testing me, going through everything just to make sure that I was cleared to go. I was working a softball camp in Boston. I'll never forget when I got the call. Can you imagine that call? Like I'm getting ready to go work a college camp with like hundreds of kids. And I get this call like, you're going to be the donor. We're going to schedule surgery. Let's go. And I was just like,
Dang.
not well. And I had to just I told Ashley and I'm like, all right, let's go. So like had to just, put it to the side and put my face on and like go do the camp. But anyways, it's just a very, very distinct day that I remember. So fast forward, I think it was about 6 months from that call to go time. And it was January 4th, 2017, I think is the date. It's been over 7 years that I had surgery. I had surgery in the morning, and my kidney actually went to another person who I am in touch with. Actually, the family just sent me pictures. She's in her 70s. Her name's Louisa. She's amazing. She's like spunky, living life. Like I got a video of her dancing. I was like, oh yeah, that's my kidney dancing in there. It's got rhythm. And then my mom got hers from another person, but that person, I think it was a male. It doesn't matter, but he chose not to connect with her. And that's okay. Like you don't have to. It's up to you. So I haven't met in person my recipient, but I do know who she is. I've communicated with the family, which is really cool. I just want to share one more funny story. I called her on the phone. So many months had to pass, and then you were determined if you could talk to the person. I called her on the phone, and I was like, hello, Louisa. I'm your kidney donor, and she hung up on me. She thought it was spam. But then she called me back and was like, hi, thank you. And like gave me to her daughter. It was cute. I think she was just like nervous, I'm sure that was a very strange and hard phone call, but here I am calling her excited. And not knowing what to say. But yeah, it's really special, and it actually means more to me that I got to have an impact on a complete stranger and their family. It's really cool. Like every time they send me a picture, it just puts things into perspective. That's the biggest thing I can say is like it just changed me completely. I mean, we make a joke. So I actually got full name. My real name is Meredith, and I got my name Mimi because I am a triplet, and I would say me, 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 like pick me up first, feed me first. I want to do everything first. And so everyone jokes like me, me, me. It's always about Mimi. Okay. And I think I probably was like that for a long time. I do. I think I was like that. And that experience almost 8 years ago just changed me completely. Like it's just the sooner that people can realize it's actually not about you and it's what you can do for others, and that will actually enhance your life in return. That's the biggest thing I like to share with people because that's what the experience has done for me. I did that just for my mom, and I had no idea who and what it would bring into my life. And Jim, you got to see it firsthand. And like, if that doesn't make your heart explode, I don't know. I don't know what else will.
Right. So one of the questions is, heroes, and I have Mimi listed as one of my heroes. It's a true story.
Oh, I'm going to hug you right through the screen.
Oh boy. I wonder if is it Louisa you said?
Yeah.
She got like a hankering to go deadlift and then, start watching a lot more softball
Yeah, she does. Yeah.
in her free time. But now there's multiple lives being touched because it was this other lady and your mom. And how many years has your mom been around since the procedure?
So it's been 7.5 years.
Oh wow.
She's doing great too. Yeah,
Yeah,
she just keeps getting better.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah. Do you remember anything about that, Jim? I was asking you a little bit earlier. I just don't, I'm trying to play back the timeline.
So 16, 17, like you were training with, you'd already left because you would train with me and Jen and Dustin.
I coached that spring after my surgery. I had surgery in January. You and Jen drove to Cincinnati, took me
Right.
out to dinner, and I had a blast with you. And then I struggled the next day. It was like going back to training for too many hours. I was not
Right.
well. I was like, I had such a fun time with them. Then I was not well. I had to pay the price. But then I coached that spring. So I didn't know if I came to the gym much or if I was just recovering and didn't get to come very often.
I remember a couple of thoughts, and the one was, well, one other than Jessica Fitton, you're the strongest female I've met. So, physically, and so I thought that would be impacted, and you're like, yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to lift like that anymore, right? And then when I was doing research on this show today, I pulled up the donor games to see how long it's been around and who's done what, and they've done these different workouts and WODs and lifts and tests for people that are participating in the donor games. And we can get into that in a second, but let's look up 3-rep max deadlift, right? So I mentioned Mark Valenti's gym. That was before you were even at my place when you were a 405 deadlifter. Well, the record on the donor games was 370 for 3, and that's Mimi Mahon. So when they say you can have full recovery and come right back, it's like over 10 years later from that 405. Like she pulled 370 for 3. I'm sure there's 390 for 1, which is less than 1% away from 405. I'm like, yeah. So she came back just fine and just as strong and competes in CrossFit competitions, ones at our place. She's still whooping ass. And so when they say you'll be fine after donating one, it's not just lip service. It's true.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what that's all about. I mean, that's really the purpose of the donor games is to showcase that you can be just as strong, healthy, and fit with one. And then actually, so it all started 4 years ago. Now so there's a bunch of us and they're all great people, men and women, living donors that do these. And we actually now are telling people, hold on, we think you can actually be stronger, fitter, healthier with one, because hear me out, you have to be more aware of taking care of your body. Like I am more into nutrition, more into hydration than ever before, because I want to make sure I'm taking care of my one kidney. So I am like very much on it. And I think that has helped my overall performance and athleticism, and I'm excited to see what I can do in the future. I'm hoping to be better than I was in my 20s, which I definitely did not think that was possible. Like when I went into the surgery, I've told people before, like I hung up my metaphorical cleats. I was like, I'm done with competing. That's not for me. And that made me really sad, but I was like, this is more important. So I kind of actually thought that I was finished competing. And you've seen me the last couple of years at the Icebreaker. I feel like I'm actually better at CrossFit now than I was back then because I was a strong lifter, but I didn't really have the body weight, strength to body weight ratio that I think I'm starting to get. So that's really been my focus, which has been really cool to kind of train in a different way.
I can tell you this, that as I continue to work on being leaner, if I cut out a few organs, I probably hit some numbers a little bit faster, at least, right? Um,
Yeah.
but you're right though. I mean, when you're down to one kidney, you can't. If you had like a fatty liver and they cut off half your liver, you can't be boozing, right?
Yeah.
So you're gonna make some better choices because it turns out what you eat and what you do with your body
Mhm.
impacts your health, right?
Turns out.
Turns out. Yep. Yep. Um, when you also wrote about teammates, you said it's not about me. I want to give and do for others without expecting anything in return. Something similar, but not totally related. It's a kind of a question or a theory I've been working on as a coach or a business owner. There's a sales component, right? So Joe Smith walks into the gym, you got to sell them on why they need to join your gym. There's also a sales component. Hey, this person is putting out at maybe 50, 60% exertion level. They need to raise their intensity. Can you talk about, as a coach, and it needs to be in your leading people where you're seeing, heard, and felt. Can you talk about how are you actually selling people on your place or on what to do next? Or is it different? Is it not really sales as the gym owner, as the coach? What are your thoughts? And I'll let you know mine afterwards.
I think it's culture building. So we've talked a little bit about that. And when I was in Boston, my training clients, which I don't even love that word, kind of like our team, they would
Mm-hmm.
say, Mimi, there's something different about you. They had all worked with traditional trainers in like a big corporate kind of gym, and they were used to a trainer. And they were like, you're just different. We can't explain it. It's like when we come to your classes, it's like game day. We feel like it's game day and we feel like you're the coach. And I didn't mean to do that at all. I didn't even know they saw it like that. But they said like coming to our fitness class was like an event. They said every time. And I thought that was really cool and really special. And when I moved back and opened my own gym, we call our adult classes team training, which you hear that a lot with youth athletes. But I think it's great for the adults too. This is your team. And what I've learned is that's helped build a culture of me with you, me for you, me in support of you, not me against you. I'm not racing the clock to beat you. I'm not trying to lift more than you. I'm trying to do the best I can for me. And I want to be with you. Now, the competitive side of me still likes to go and like, we can go, do better than that gym over there. Like, if we have a competition or something like that, I like to still compete in that way, but I don't want to foster an environment of competing with the people on our own team. I want that to be, like more camaraderie and supportive. And the other thing I think I've learned over time that I will add to that I think about a lot is that more often than not, and this, I don't know that it's always with youth athletes, but more specifically with adults, they don't really need to be pushed and motivated. They need to be like supported and given like just basically like tangible goals and incentives that way versus like yelled at and pushed. I don't think that most adults respond to that. I think they are there trying to do their best. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like they have a lot going on. A lot of people have families, children, responsibilities, stress. They come to the gym to be removed from all that. They don't want more of that. They want to come to like a positive environment where they can push themselves, be rewarded and supported for their hard work. But that might look different from person to person. Like Jim lifting 300 pounds and me lifting 100 pounds, we all might be giving it our best. So don't just praise the person that's lifting 300 pounds or the person that's pulling a 130 split on the rowing machine. Like that person over there that's pulling a 205, that's the first time they've done that. They're excited too. So I think we're really, really big on trying to meet people where they're at and provide that support along the way.
Gotcha. Gotcha. I like that. I especially like how it's, it's team training. Um, 'Cause you're part of something bigger than yourself, and you can help the overall group, which then will come back and help you. When I look at the problem solving or sales component, someone comes to the gym, I don't look at it as if I'm selling them a car or a product or a service. I ask them a number of different ways, just like you're doing a personality exam, about why they're there. So I want to find out the root cause. And if it's really superficial, my experience statistically is that it doesn't really last very long, right? But they have some real reasons. I want to be healthier. I'm type 2 diabetic. I want to set an example for my kids. Then I don't have to sit there and say, well, you need to join this gym. You need to do our nutrition program and CrossFit, blah, blah, blah. I'll say, well, based on what you told me and what we're able to do, how much time we have, this is probably like a 6-month journey or a 12-month journey, but overall, your overall health and wellness is a lifelong journey. I'll just simply say, are you ready to get started? Right? It's not like it's a big hard sell. I'm just trying, if I can solve their problem, then it's okay for me to say, are you ready to get started? If I haven't solved that problem, then there's no reason why they or anyone else would want to move forward. I find that to be one of the times where people look at it as a sales thing. And I'm like, no, I'm just solving a problem. I'm trying to get you to be the best version of yourself. Right?
Absolutely. And I think this might surprise you as well, but I have been known to tell people that if this isn't for you, there's other types of fitness. There's
Sure.
other gyms, and people think that's really crazy. I'm like, hey, there's, so-and-so CrossFit down the street that probably trains in a way that sounds like that's what you're looking for. Or, oh, hey, there's Orange Theory that does this, or, F45 that does this, or whatever the case is. I don't fight or compete against those gyms at all. It's
Mm,
like, I'm telling you what we're doing, and I believe in this
right.
wholeheartedly, and I believe we can help you. This is what I think is best for you. But I don't need to bash other gyms or put down other ways to train. And I have found that this is pretty awesome. Like, people have sometimes left our gym. Maybe they moved down the street, or it's a little bit inconvenient for them. So they tried this gym close to their house, and then they actually end up coming back to our gym because
Mm,
I didn't get upset with them for leaving or tell them that gym was a joke. I just said, like, whatever's best for you, we're here. We're going to be here. We're going to be here. We're going to be doing the same things, training for life in a great environment. Like, if and I think people really respond well to that versus, I'm not trying to sell you. I'm just telling you what we have. And the other thing is, fitness and training has become pretty expensive, I would say, especially in this day and age. And to me, that is totally about feeling, proud of what you have to offer. It's like you said, like, this is what I have to offer. I can help you. And as long as, you understand what you're bringing to the table, I feel like that should never be a problem as well. I think that's just something that needs to be talked about too, because it's like, if you want to go, down the street to Planet Fitness for $25, a month, or that 24/7 access gym that's $10. I hear that all the time. It's like, that is fine. There's a place for that. We are professional certified trainers, and we're going to give you the individual attention that we think you need. And we're here if you need us. That's kind of how I keep it.
that's true. Even within the whole CrossFit community, there are different kinds of philosophies, and the gyms and the
Mhm.
affiliates conduct themselves differently. And similar to you guys, our philosophy is that people should be lifting so that they're strong and they can handle their bodies and some kind of load, and they should be in shape. So can they lift? Are they in shape? Are they moving correctly? And are they safe? Having a good time? That's the product. That's the service. The other thing where I feel, well, it seems like people think I'm selling them or pushing them. I will admit that when people are working out or they're doing things, I will tell them that when you're doing things and you're very, very comfortable, there's not much growth. There's not. I want you to be able to. I want you to be able to sustain your habits. So it has to be somewhat comfortable in that amount of challenge or load. But if you're just comfortable all the time, then you're not going to really evolve very much. Your body won't change much. Your mindset won't change. So I said, if one of your whys is to be better mentally and physically, then I am then required to tell you that we need to be uncomfortable a little bit here and embrace that. Now, you can
Yeah.
if you want. You don't have to. And there's days I come in, I just check a box because I don't have much to give, but I'm still coming, right? My 4 or 5 days a week. And that's okay. But if I'm always doing that every time, I'm probably not evolving. So someone's going to say to me, "Hey, Jim, are you cool where you're at?" Because if you are, great. And there are people in our gym that have been there like 10 plus years. They can move weight. They're having fun with their friends. They're in great shape. They have great mobility. I don't really feel the need to push. Like they've checked all the boxes. You've arrived. You're there. Just keep going, right?
Yep.
But if you're not quite there, then there's going to be a little bit of discomfort. I got to ask you to say, let's embrace that a little bit, and that way we can get to the point where you said you wanted to be in, and see what the view looks like at that point.
Yeah, I don't know if you do this at your gym or how if you do any testing in your programming cycles or anything like that, but we've just implemented a basic benchmark program where it's
Mm-hmm.
like every month we test a strength and a conditioning piece and we retest it. And you and I know that you need more than 4 weeks, but it works out really nicely. You can see progress, whether you're a beginner or advanced, and we educate, our members on like, obviously, if you're brand new, the progress you might see, and if you're more advanced. And then we cycle those throughout the year. And then now that we've been open for almost 4 years, we can repeat those from previous as well. And I think that's been really cool. It just gives people that little, carrot to chase and kind of that feel good of like, I improved. And then it goes back to it's not like I did better than Jim, but I did better for
Right.
myself than I did at the beginning of the month. So I really enjoy that.
It's always you versus you. Like you can go out there and outbench me tomorrow, maybe. And I'm like, well, I still have to get up and live my life, right? It's still me
Hmm.
versus me. Still me versus me. And as silly as those gold stars look like on Wodify, they're absolutely huge. And this thing physically that I'm working on, I have my own little notebook. And I keep a little tick mark if I hit any kind of personal PR. You want to see progress.
Yep.
Tony Robbins talks about that all the time. People just want to see progress so they know they're moving in the right direction. And then it keeps fostering that hope, right?
Yep.
I love that everything you're about there, Mimi. I loved how you're so giving with that, and you're badass and you're knowledgeable. You're not just like just throwing things up on the wall and saying, "Hey, let's see what we're doing today." We'll just pull some things out of the hopper. What's going to happen going forward? What's the hope for? I know you said you had like your dream of two classes going on at once, two facilities side by side, blah blah. But the next few years, where do you see uh, your whole facility, your whole team, your whole culture? What's that going to evolve to and look like?
I'd like to, like I said, have I don't care about size necessarily, but I'd like to have two facilities side by side so that we can do what we want in making strong families and providing opportunities for everyone in the family to train in an efficient manner. So we know time is everything more than ever, sports schedules and everything else. So giving people the opportunity to train um, children and adults, that's a big goal. I'd like to do more with youth athletes and getting them to the next level, like you've said before, like whether it's JV to varsity or to college. I'd like to do more with athletes in that way, utilizing my experience as a college coach, my wife's experience as a college coach, and helping athletes in that way. That's a big thing I'd like to add. We've talked about potentially adding specifically baseball, softball training as well, and what that might look like skill wise in training. And then, on a personal note, I have two boys, and we need a little Mimi Jr. running around. So we'll see if that can happen. But maybe grow my family a little bit, just keep them coming, build some future rock stars. So we'll see what happens. But that's kind of the goal. I think when I first opened the gym, I really focused on one thing at a time. I was like focused on the building the adult program. Then I added sports performance. Then I expanded the sports performance to more ages. Then I added more personal training. So that's something I haven't talked much about, but we have a very really nice personal training program that's expanded. I'm trying to get all of our trainers and coaches to be able to do all of those things as they wish to and pursue that education. So just trying to expand at a rate that makes sense. And then one thing that's really cool, Jim, that I think that you might enjoy as well is I just implemented a kind of an incentive program for my staff, my trainers, to do more continuing education and continue to learn and grow as well. So just a compensation plan that allows them to grow with me, because I want them to be happy, stay with our gym for a long time in our community. And I think just working at universities and colleges, like I cannot say enough that you need to keep learning and growing. I think being stagnant is so scary, and I want to challenge myself to continue to do things like come to your gym, come to your summits, just, do what I can to learn and grow.
And then, I know you just recently hosted the Midwest Regional for Donor Games. Any plans on continuing that role and that impact in that industry and endeavor?
Absolutely. So I have competed the last few years. This will be my fourth championship in September. So going to Connecticut that's like my big show I've been working for. I cannot wait. It'll be year 4, like I said. So that's exciting. And I had the pleasure of my sister and I went to New York City and spoke at the National Kidney Registry Gala last year, which was an unbelievable opportunity. So I just love working with the National Kidney Registry and the donor game. So I'm open to anything. I'm hoping to continue to run that regional event every year and make it really consistent. So that way people can like mark it on the calendar. They're coming, continue to spread awareness. And the National Kidney Registry would like to expand the regional events around the country. So hopefully helping out just to make those events smooth and I think as wonderful as it was when you were just there last weekend.
That's awesome. And then Ashley, she works for Tier, right?
She was working for Tier. Right now, she's actually working full time. We'll call it full time for Mahon Strength and Fitness. So we
Oh,
are,
wow.
yeah, we're going all in on it right now. Just raising the boys. Nico's going to be in preschool this year, but we just feel like it's really important. She was traveling a lot with Tier, and it was just really challenging to own and operate a business and have her on the road every weekend for events as well. So we're just really working on it together. That's why I'm hoping she's been an incredible addition to our team. I never want her or any of my family to feel like they have to participate in the gym. I want it to be a want to, and she
Mm-hmm.
really wants to. And she's amazing. Like working with the youth athletes, especially. She is the feedback I've gotten from our members is like, oh yeah, she's a coach. Like you just feel that. It's hard to describe, but people have already said that, and so I love having her. Hopefully she's enjoying it and keeps wanting to build this thing together because it's really fun for me and for us.
She have good references. Did she get through the interview process? Was she vetted pretty well?
Yeah, it was all right. I had to check a couple references, but it went
Right.
okay.
That's outstanding. That's what a resource. Uh, when you're training, what do you like to listen to?
Well, you're gonna laugh, but I actually usually listen to like slow jams because I don't know if you feel this way if you coach a lot at the gym still, but it's just like, high volume, upbeat
Aggression.
music on repeat. Yeah. So I'll take it down or maybe take it back to some old school, like in the, early mid to late 2000s when I thought I was cool. Give me some Chris Brown, some T-Pain back in the day. Lucas, you know what I'm saying? You're too young. Are you too young for that era?
No, no.
That was you too?
I'm not
So
quite 30, but I'm almost there.
all right, yeah. So you
So,
understand what I'm saying. So
yeah.
throwbacks or country, probably just to bring the energy down a little bit. Unless I'm really gearing up for a big lift, I don't need all that hype music most of the time.
Yeah, I do the same thing. Even when I'm not coaching, the hype music's going at the gym, and just been around for so much that when I train, I either don't listen to anything at all, just silence, or I'm just talking to my training partners, or country, just kind of just keeping it chill. And every once in a while, if I need to be more intense, I usually put on some type of audio like Jocko or David Goggins, or today was Ray Lewis. And it's just for a small piece of the day's session, But usually I want to just kind of like, I can get there in my own head, so I don't need that any longer.
Yep.
How about bucket list adventures? You and Ashley, and you haven't done it before, you haven't gone anywhere. What's something that's a fun just thing for you guys? Because you have a different answer here. I'll ask you about that one in a second. But a bucket list adventure, just you and Ashley going off on a vacation for fun.
I think she would like to go somewhere out of the country. I don't know. she probably would pick better than I have. We actually traveled the world quite a bit when we were younger before kids. So I feel like we kind of been there, done that. So I guess I don't want to give you her answer. So she would probably say that. My answer would be anywhere with the boys. I mean, it could be just a trip to Florida, a trip to an amusement park. I don't really care, but anywhere with the boys. Her family lives in Chicago, so we travel a lot there, and that gives me a little mental break from the gym. But
That's a good mom answer. Look at you, just all about family, right?
I've maybe I'll come full circle on that, but we traveled a lot in our 20s. It was fun. I feel like I lived it up. Now I'm ready for mom mode.
But you have a different bucket list adventure listed here about a summit.
Oh yes, that's what I really want to do. So if I could, I mean, you're kind of hearing this. I've been great places. I've traveled. It's not that I really, I guess, as cliche as it sounds, Jim, I care more about the people than the place. That's the truth. Like if you
For
told me I
sure.
could go to wherever I want by myself, I'm like, I don't want to do that. I'd rather go on a deserted island with a bunch of my friends. That sounds more fun. Or like in the woods is fine. I don't care. I just want to go with good people. So I've thought a lot about that. And I think the happiest I could ever be in my life is if I could take all the places I've lived, all the cities, the states, the colleges I worked at, the gyms I've been at, and take like my top couple people that really impacted me or that I still keep in touch with, like put us all on one little island on a trip together. I think that'd be so fun. And it would be fun from just like a personal standpoint, but also to just like talk shop. That's one of my downfalls is that everyone yells at me and they say, you never stop talking about strength and conditioning, the gym, this, that. I don't mean to be that way. I just really love it. So I love talking about it. So it would be cool to have a bunch of people that are kind of like-minded to just sit around and talk about things we care about.
Well, I'd be happy to throw out an idea along those lines.
I'm here for it.
So, and you're on the way. If you like outdoorsy physical things, we can easily drive to West Virginia. In the morning, we can go rafting, and we're done early afternoon. Afternoon could be breakout sessions or sessions where we just talk shop on business, strength and conditioning, coaching people, mindset, etc. Have dinner, and then you can either raft again the next morning or do something else, and then you can make it a 2 or 3 day thing. They got cabins out there. There's a hotel. There's little restaurants in town, and so there's rappelling, there's fishing, blah blah blah. But you could do like morning or afternoon some fun activity, but morning or afternoon, some work activities, and you spread it over 2 or 3 days, and you come home better.
Let's do it. 2026. Give us some time.
Boom. Right?
I'm so serious. I think it'd be so awesome to do that. It'd be fun.
That'd be great. You said you don't watch movies or TV, but do you have a favorite sports show, movie, anything?
I would say I really enjoyed the documentary on Michael Jordan.
Mm.
Can I count that? That was pretty awesome.
The Last Dance?
Yeah, it was really good.
Mm.
I love to watch. So Ashley makes fun of me. She'll come into like our living room. She's like, "What are you watching?" She's like, "Oh my gosh, you're watching YouTube videos of interviews." Like that's what I really enjoy. So I really enjoyed that series. Like I like listening to people talk about their lives and their mindset more than I watch TV or movies these days.
Jen and I watch a ton of documentaries, but she's even a bigger nerd than I am. I aspire to be her level of nerd. So she'll watch Civil War or history or blah, 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 but we watch a lot of 30 for 30s or even Peyton's Places or Hard Knocks. I like finding out what the teams are about or what the psyche of this player who's coming back from ACL injury or this person who's trying to make the team, how hard do they work? So I love that. I love seeing people strive and persevere and then come out with a W. How about a favorite sport or athlete?
Let's see. This is going to be unpopular opinion, but speaking of watching documentaries, I watched The Quarterbacks. Or is that what it was called? There's something about there's a bunch of quarterbacks, and it made me like Patrick Mahomes. That's going to be that could go either way for a lot of people. But I did. I'm like, this guy, okay. I like his story. I can get down with him. So I think if you kind of pull the curtain back and you let me into someone's life, I have much more respect. So he's not only a phenomenal athlete, but just like learning more about his story helped push me over the edge. So I'll say Patrick Mahomes.
It makes it easy when people are authentic, and he's a pretty real person. So yeah, Peyton put that show together. Peyton's also the producer of the sequel. So I think last year was
Hmm.
quarterbacks, this year it's receivers, and
Okay,
it's on Netflix. So yeah, same deal. Awesome stuff.
check that
Uh,
out.
favorite book?
I still resort back to Mind Gym. I read that when I was in college, and then as a college coach, I had several of my teams read it. It's an old but good one. I like it because it's just short and sweet stories that really pack a powerful punch. Like I can remember one of the biggest takeaways is what's the hardest shot in golf for most people? Do you know?
The next one?
It's a good answer. Lucas, you got anything?
I
The
know
hardest shot
nothing about golf, but I'm gonna say probably for me it's every shot, but I will say probably putting.
Maybe
putting.
a 5 foot putt,
Yeah. Yeah, like a close putt that should be like money. You could say
right?
it's a free throw in basketball, right? It's like something that you should just be like automatic, put it in, boom. And people get really nervous because there's like this expectation that they should make it. Whereas like hitting the ball as far as you can, it's like I feel free. It's probably why I liked throwing up 3 pointers in high school. I was like, who cares? Bam, made it. But I think that's so true. It's like it just has to do with like the psychology of it all and the expectations. And I feel that way. I think even in sport now, like if I'm doing a competition, it's like, well, Mimi should hit this lift. Like you should deadlift whatever, 370, like we were talking about before. It's like there's almost more pressure to perform in the things that you should be good at than there are the things that are kind of you're not as confident in. So I think that's an interesting takeaway. But I do remember that book just has a ton of those examples that are really true.
I find oftentimes when you use the word should, I'm usually unhappy at the end of the sentence.
Hmm.
I should have done this. I should do that. You could say, next time I'm working on this, that's fine. Or I made this mistake. I won't do that again. But whenever time I start comparing myself to a thought, an expectation, a perceived expectation, somebody else, another gym owner, another athlete, another 49-year-old white guy from Plainfield, right? So, and then, I find myself being less happy. So I'm working on not doing that. Favorite superhero?
My mom,
You're a good girl. And then any bad dudes,
Jim,
villains? All right,
Jim Beebe.
that's right.
I'm
Favorite
just kidding. I
favorite
don't mess
lift?
with those guys. Favorite lift would be snatch.
All time heaviest snatch?
175. It's been a long time.
Boom. Favorite way to train or favorite thing you're working on?
It goes back to the music comment. I thought about this when you said you would rather just talk with your training buddies than listen to music, and that's 100%. Nothing can replace a good training partner.
Mm.
I'm really fortunate to have great ones here. I've had great ones in you and Jen, and I just feel like I always somehow find great people to train with. And when I'm by myself, I don't enjoy that as much. Some people really do. I also don't enjoy, like, I can just feel it when it's not a good fit. And that's funny. That's something I've learned actually over the years. Like, you can just feel it when you're like, this isn't it. That hasn't happened to me much, but when it does, I can feel that. So just having really good training partners. And my favorite way to train is, I don't want to say my old age. I'm 36. It's not that big of a deal, but I like to have time. It's like time is invaluable these days. So I like to have enough time to like warm up how I want, take my time, lift, hit some conditioning. That's how and first thing in the morning is my ideal. Doesn't always work out that way, but
Yeah, I go first thing, get it out of the way. Um, your favorite quote? 'Cause I know you like to listen to podcasts and YouTube videos, and you're reading all the time. Is there a quote that is the favorite flavor of the month, or something specific right now?
yeah, I would love to challenge you on this one to think about how to word it better. I've asked a few of my close friends and people in this space too, but it's the more you give, the more you receive. And I think that what that means is the more you give to others, the more you get in return. But I don't
Mm.
love that quote. That's the quote, but I don't love it. I think we can make it better because I think there's this like implication that I'm giving to receive. That's
Hmm.
not what I'm saying. The quote doesn't mean that either. It means like if you lead with giving, it's going to come back full circle at some point in a way that you might not know. So it's not giving to receive, but it's just knowing that the more you give to others, that the more you ultimately will receive. So I think there's a better way to phrase that, but that's the quote. And then the other one I like, I'll mess up, but it's basically like nothing in life that's easy is really worth it. Like you need to, everything that's worth it is hard and challenging, and to get out to the other side makes it really worth it.
So the first one, the old school version is simply what goes around comes around, good or bad, right?
Yep.
And from old networking slogan was, it's givers gain. Givers gain. Those that give more gain more. And sometimes you're not gaining anything monetarily. You're not gaining anything. You gain the feeling of, hey, I made an impact. I gave this referral to this person. I gave this person knowledge, so now they're better. So that their approach, the networking approach, their mantra was givers gain, because the more you give, the more you gained.
So I have to tell you a story about that really quickly too. One of my members at the gym, Jake, he just got second place at the donor games. He gets $250 in cash. He texts me, what equipment does the gym need? I said, no. You keep that. Come on, man. You did great. Like, you keep that. That's awesome. Proud of you. He said, if you don't tell me what you want, I'm just going to buy something.
Oh,
and
wow.
I'm like, wow. And I said, thank you so much. Like, I appreciate you. I'm like, you're number one to me. That's what I told him. I was like, you got second, but like, you're the best guy. Like, you're just Mr. Humble Pie. I just love him so much. He's a great athlete. And he actually responded with that quote. I should pull it up, but it was the giver's gain. It was longer than that, but that was the idea. So that's cool.
That's awesome, because whatever equipment comes in, he can benefit from it. And then there's the impact of his teammates, so
yep.
Yeah, no one gets there alone. That's awesome. Man, Mimi, where can people find you?
Myself and my gym, Mahon Strength and Fitness, and then Mimi Mahon. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, and our website, mahonstrengthandfitness.com. So
and those that want to help out and learn more about donating, especially kidneys, the livingdonorgames.com. You can find out more information there. You'll also see Mimi's profile. She's highlighted as one of their athletes. For those that are sending us questions, info@athlete-builder.com. Be on the look for for my book that's coming out here. It'll go live September 30th. And Mimi, has been great having you on. Lucas, good having you back on the team in studio. So thank you for the time. Thank you for the sharing, all your thoughts and your wisdom. Thanks for the event down at Donor Games. Thanks for thanks for being you, Mimi. My life's better because you're in it.
Likewise, Jim. I appreciate you. And it's funny, like, I was only really at your gym for 2 years, kind of not even, because I did donate my kidney and I couldn't train as much. So I think we probably had like 1 year, maybe 1.5. And people don't know this, but I drove 45 minutes one way to get to Jim's place to train. And so that was a lot of hours spent driving there, training, and driving back. And it was a priority to me. So if you find good people, don't let anything get in your way, because once again, it comes back full circle. Look, here we are now because of just like that little amount of time that made a lasting impact. So I appreciate you very much. And I'm really proud of all the work you're doing, Jim.
Thanks. Yeah, Jen and I are definitely better for having you on the team back then and today. So Mimi, thanks so much. Lucas, see you next time. And those with Athlete Builder, we'll see you next time here in the library. Jim, sign off. Have a good one, everybody.